We're like drug dealers. It's like, hey, check out all the fun stuff we do.
Yeah.
Here's a free pair of socks. Try them out. And it's like,
Yeah.
we know you're coming back for more.
Welcome to the In the Works podcast, your insider's guide to the world of American manufacturing and entrepreneurship.
We delve into the challenges, breakthroughs, and lessons learned in creating products that embody the essence of quality and sustainability.
Join us as we explore the intricate processes behind GRIP6's own products. We'll also share insights into our commitment to keeping production domestic, how it strengthens our economy, and why Made in the USA is a hallmark of excellence.
Whether you're a budding entrepreneur, a manufacturing enthusiast, or a consumer who values American craftsmanship, this podcast is for you.
Today, I really want to talk about where GRIP6 is at right today, and maybe a little bit how we got there. Obviously, being part of GRIP6, it's pretty crazy that socks are as important as they are to GRIP6 right now. And I mean, traditionally, we're a belt manufacturing company, and socks have come in and taken the company by storm. Can you talk a little bit about why we're doing socks even?
So socks started off with a conversation with another entrepreneur that was pushing socks and trying to get some traction, and actually tried to sell his sock business to us because it wasn't doing super well. Maybe that should have been a sign not to do it, but yeah. Instead we decided, so we looked at a couple of things. The main thing we always look at when we're manufacturing something is how cheaply can we actually make something, because if it's too expensive, we can't do it.
And just to clarify, inexpensive, how, labor, right? Like,
so labor and materials. And when I say cheaply, I don't mean like with low quality stuff. What I mean is, are the actual material qualities cheap enough to be able to have a product that you can do something to and then sell it for a higher value?
Right.
So we actually end up using the highest quality materials. Wool for socks is super expensive. It's like $20 a pound. But one pair of socks weighs like a tenth of a pound, so you're looking at like $2 in wool. So then you look at something from there. So you kind of start with, what are the raw material costs when you're using the best materials? And then it's labor. How much labor is this going to take to make something? And then the real big jump from there is, for us, online marketing. How expensive is it going to be to make a sale? So when those things kind of line up properly, then we say, okay, this looks like something we could take a stab at. And that's kind of what we did with socks.
I remember, so the guy had a bamboo sock company.
Yeah.
And we initially were looking at bamboo, but bamboo is really just rayon and ends up being, number one, it's super not great for the environment. It's just really heavy chemical process. But also, when we started looking at different fibers for socks, wool wasn't even close. Eventually, we did this for months. Wool ended up being like significantly better. You were talking about the cost of what we ended up going with the most expensive stuff, which is not just wool but American wool.
Yeah.
But talk about maybe why we went into wool, and you said it was it's only $2 a pair of socks, but compare that to the cost of something another fiber.
Yeah, so if you're doing something like cotton, you're probably talking like, I don't know, 20 to 50 cents in actual raw material, like super, super cheap.
In manufacturing or business, something may sound like pretty inexpensive, like $2 of wool per pair of socks. That's still rather expensive, and makes it hard to meet to meet those margins. But we still went with wool, and it ended up being a pretty good decision, I would say. And it's interesting, even. We source in the United States as much as we can, and for wool that meant that we almost doubled the price that we had to pay for a pound of wool. Is that about right?
Yeah, close to double. It's like 60. Well, no, yeah, it's almost double.
Tell me, why is that important to you?
So, when you're making something, the whole purpose of GRIP6 was to make American manufacturing kind of the focus of what we do. It's like let's be responsible, and not just responsible, like let's be self-sufficient, let's be independent. Yeah. Let's not be reliant on some foreign country that might use questionable labor practices to make your stuff cheap. So, but really it's about independence. It's about being able to do stuff yourself. When somebody comes to you and says, you can't do that, you need to go somewhere else, that just like cracks my bones inside. I'm just like,
you've been told that many times, haven't you?
Yeah, it's so annoying because it's like, you're not capable. And to me, that's just a challenge to just prove that wrong. So
yeah, especially because we're a nation of 350 million people or whatever. Like, we should be capable to do anything. I mean, as far as manufacturing or any sector, if we don't have independence, even to some small degree, some option that exists in the United States, there's a problem there.
And historically, the United States has been the country that manufactures. I don't know all the numbers, but I know within the last several decades ago, we used to churn out like a third of the world's products. And being like, I don't know, some small percentage of the population of the world, it was a huge like output of production compared to the actual people in the country.
So I think we're going to have that episode another time, really talk about the importance of American manufacturing and our piece of it. For today, let's talk about, so socks started in 2020 that we launched. It took us about a year and a half from the decision. The guy came and we saw his business and we said, no, when we started looking over it and before we were like, we're just going to do it ourselves.
Well, yeah, a couple of reasons. I mean, to quickly answer your last question, in making stuff in the U.S., we try to source stuff in the U.S. mainly to kind of support other manufacturers who are still trying to make it here.
Yeah.
That's the main reason. So when this guy came along, he was wanting a lot of money for his little business. Number one, it was like, that's kind of expensive. Number two, we actually found the factory that he was getting his stuff in, and it was in California, and it was a bunch of migrant workers on cheap knitting machines making moderate socks. Yeah. They were nothing great. We used them. They were okay, but they weren't amazing. So when we compared the cost of his company and we would also be absorbing a lot of his inventory, which didn't really fit the brand, and they weren't great. So it was like, well, let's just start from scratch. So then the next look was, where do we find the best socks? Let's make really good socks. And by the time we got pricing from that was super expensive too. And then we get to that thing where I initially started, which was, how much does wool cost? Okay, you're looking at $2 as your base cost. Okay. At $2, now if we're doing it ourselves, we can make it for something that's affordable for us to make and be able to sell online.
I remember that it was exciting because we're like, we go into socks. Number one, we're like, we get to wear our own socks.
Yeah.
And so again, that was in 2019, and it was late 2020 that we introduced socks, and we just had, at the time, I think we had 4 knitting machines. Is that right?
Yeah. It was either 4 or 10. No, I think it was 4.
We started
off by buying 4.
Yeah.
And then we bought another 6 to have 10, and we ran those for a very long time.
Now, this is the negative about socks and GRIP6. And people who are watching this and they've purchased our socks, they're going to feel it. That Christmas, we ran out of socks very quickly, because we have our family and friends sale in November, and they just went out. And so then we decided to purchase more sock machines, and that's been a problem that we've had since the inception of socks at GRIP6. Is the demand is really outpacing our ability to get new machines and to make enough socks, which we apologize for. Hopefully this next year we're
super sorry.
Yeah.
We want to make more socks, and we're trying.
We'd love to make more socks. In fact, my house has a dearth of socks because I feel bad taking socks from GRIP6, so we're stuck with our thirds.
Yeah.
So anyway, socks grew really fast. I wouldn't say really fast. They grew steadily.
Yeah.
It wasn't really until this last year that socks seemed in marketing to really pick up.
Yeah, it kind of took me by surprise when you said, usually, especially during sale times, look at the numbers. It's more than 50% of socks. Almost everything, more than 50%, 60%, and it's like, holy cow.
Yeah, I think that happened in March during the factory second sale, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got tons of belts. Not that we're bad manufacturers, but we're extra picky, which means we don't put through anything that's not like perfect. And so we got a lot of things. We have a lot of belts. We have a lot of wallets. We had a lot of socks. And but socks outstrip everything.
The second sale is such a fun sale because we get to be super stringent during the year and have perfects that are perfect. And that doesn't mean we don't make mistakes. Sometimes that happens, but it does mean that we get to save things up for those factory second sales and give a good discount. But I want to say in March we saw a huge pinch because that was March 2023. Something like 27,000 pairs of socks sold in that. I can't remember if it was a week or 2 weeks. Do you remember?
I think we did 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
But they were out really by day 3 or 4. Most of them were out.
Yeah.
So that brings us to now. So then that, and then every single sale we've had this year, and again, people who watch this, they know this, and they've purchased from GRIP6. Socks go out pretty quickly. So that's where we're at right now. Socks are really important, and marketing's gotten really hard on belts and wallets. It's a shift for us mentally. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Yeah, this especially after going through Black Friday, like just recently, and seeing socks again just eclipsing the other stuff with very disproportionate ad spend. Our ad spend on socks has always been really low because we've always struggled to keep those in stock. Our ad spend on belts and wallets have been much higher, but the returns on socks are always way better.
Why do you think there's so much demand for the socks?
We've discussed it internally a bunch. One of the things is, I think when somebody gets on our socks, we kind of do this when we give a tour. Like, we're like drug dealers. It's like, hey, check out all the fun stuff we do.
Yeah.
Here's a free pair of socks. Try them out. And it's like,
Yeah.
we know you're coming back for more,
If you're in Utah and you're watching this and you haven't come to GRIP6 and taken a tour, when you do, you get a free pair of socks. Just just let them know that you saw this podcast and come in and get a free pair. It is like a good drug.
It's like drugs for your feet.
Yeah.
So people get a pair of socks. In fact, I was just talking to a pickleball guy who I gave a pair of socks too many months ago, and he's like, I just put them on for the first time the other day. I set them on my drawer, and I forgot about them. I wore them playing pickleball. They were amazing.
Yeah.
And he's like, now I need some more. And so I think, anecdotally, that's kind of what we see is somebody gets one or two, and they're like, usually this is how you know you're making something good. Somebody has one or two pairs, and they're always looking through their sock drawer trying to find their GRIP6 socks versus their other socks. Yeah. And then when they realize that they're doing that, they're like, I need to buy some more. And so then they'll buy an 8-pack or a 12-pack or whatever.
It's crazy. We've had a lot of cool stories. Customers will tell us things that they've done with the belts or whatever, but the stories about socks are so amazing. We had 2 Antarctica stories now of someone telling us, I love your socks. I'm wearing them in Antarctica. That's odd. If our socks have been to Antarctica twice now, at least, by two different people, and they've been to space several times now. No, that's not true.
The belts, right?
The belts have been to space.
If you've been to space in our socks, let us know.
What's interesting? Yeah, if you're part of Blue Origin and you did have GRIP6 socks, which you should have, let us know.
So our belts are currently the official, what do you call that, uniform, right, for Blue Origin flights. I think they stopped them for a while or something, but we got Jeff Bezos and a bunch of famous people that are wearing our belts up into space, which is pretty cool because we didn't pay for that. We didn't ask for that. Some Blue Origin people just loved our belts and said, we're going to add this as part of our uniform, and that was really fun for us.
As far as it does make sense because our belts are light, and so, that they go to space. So probably saved them some money.
And kind of futuristic looking. Yeah.
We saved Jeff Bezos some money. Not that that's important at all, but
he's taken plenty of our money through Amazon.
Yes. We've been making belts for a long time, and our belts are so highly rated. It's not so much that demand has gone down for belts. It's more like demand has gone up for socks. The marketplace is more difficult in e-com. I've been in marketing with GRIP6 for 5 years now, and e-commerce, we're about 95% online in our sales, and so the reality of that is the last couple years have been very difficult for that, just industry wide. We've been able to survive, and the belts remain in demand. In fact, we've come out even during that couple of years, come out with a lot of different options for belts. Yeah. Okay. So BJ, what do you think? What are your plans for the belts?
So belts are kind of an interesting thing. It's like when I started GRIP6, I started with the belt, and belts were all we did for several years, and they were super successful.
And just so everyone knows, BJ invented the belt in 2013, and then we introduced it in 2014.
Yeah.
And it's patented, and it's unique and amazing. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So after doing belts for a lot of years, we came out with a lot of stuff, different widths, different colors, straps, different buckle styles, all kinds of different things. Sorry, what was your original question?
Yeah, so what do you think?
What are we doing?
Where are we going with belts? Where are you going to go with belts?
Belts is kind of tricky because, with inflation and everything, we brought up our prices just a little bit, like another $4 or $5. And so, as far as market goes online, we're a little bit of an expensive belt. But belts, the belts that we make are so incredibly good that, and I just had several people tell me this recently. In fact, one guy today where he says, I got a gift from somebody, and he's like, I just need one. Like,
Yeah.
it works, and I've had it for years. And so our belts are designed to last forever, and they literally do last forever. And so after you have one or two, it's just like you don't need belts anymore. And
I think for us in belts, we probably need to simplify. We've always been like, we wanted to get as many types of belts as possible. And what we found is that people are very conservative when it comes to belts. They want the Ninja belt, they want the gunmetal, and maybe honeycomb. Like the honeycomb belt we make is like their outlandish belt, right?
Yeah.
But we still, the problem is that we like to hit those niche markets, and we like to hit custom ideas and different things like that. And so maybe we simplify belts, but still having some options for cool looking ones, limited, and then maybe through a subscription service.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's kind of what we're talking about lately.
So the other thing that I'd be pretty interested in doing, and I'd love to hear feedback from our customers, is really like redesigning our manufacturing process as part of the simplification. I've had a couple of really good ideas on, if anybody's come and seen our belts, it's all robots. It's like robots doing almost everything. It's really automated. But I've got a way to make the robots go like way, way faster, which means our throughput we could output a lot more. So then I'm thinking like, maybe if we actually bring the price way down, like maybe half of what it is, we could make so many belts so much faster. Then we'd kind of not like flood the world with the belts, but like get them out there so much cheaper. Maybe they would be a higher adoption rate to new people. I don't know. The question is, if we simplified way down and cut the price way down, does that really get us enough volume to make up the difference?
I think it would be nice if we went incredible volumes and brought that price down. That would hit our original goal, right?
Yeah.
Which is to make products for every American, and not trying to hit certain markets, but have the belt, because honestly, the belt is the best belt out there. It's so easy to function. It works perfectly. It's minimal. It's like, I remember the first time you gave me the belt, I was like, this is it. And I'm in the military. I was like, this is going to be my military belt from now on, right? Even though it's not, at the time it wasn't within regs. But part of that issue is maybe the weakness that we have at GRIP6 is, one of our weaknesses is we're not the greatest networkers, right? Like, we like to do things ourselves. We like to solve problems ourselves. And so maybe that hurts us.
To be honest, my daughter has told me this. I'm a little bit high and mighty on certain judgments. I'm like, salespeople, real estate guys, things like that. I'm like, are they really earning a living? I don't know. They're not really making anything, right? But it's like when you hold information and that's your thing that makes you money. I've been judgmental on it. I admit that.
You're a builder.
But that's one of my weaknesses. I'm like the worst at networking, and it has hurt me.
For us to be able to do that, we need to get into bigger channels, especially brick and mortar stores. And honestly, it'd be so nice to be in so many more places around the country. I think when we hit the right volume, where we're going to be able to create a belt that we can bring down to $29 or even $19.
Yeah.
If you're listening, it's going to take a while because we really need better supply connections. No, I wouldn't say supply. We need better infrastructure and networking to be able to get into Costco or Target or REI or
new sales channels.
Yeah, exactly.
And it will take a little bit of time, maybe 3 to 6 months to redo the robot design. Probably 6 months is realistic.
Yeah.
To really get that cranking 3 times as fast. Yeah.
This could be another episode as well, but in online marketing, something that is that inexpensive, you have to have it be something that's repurchased. If it's $19 online, it has to be something you're going to repurchase. Otherwise, the cost to advertise is just too high. It might cost us online something like anywhere from $40 to $60 to just put ads on Facebook or Google and have it in front of someone's face and where they purchase, which a lot of people don't know that is really expensive to do it.
Yeah. In fact, when I give people tours, sometimes people ask, like, how much does it really cost to make something? When I tell them the price, it's low.
Yeah.
They're usually, like, shocked. It's like Chinese pricing low as far as what it's costing
What they would think, right.
But the truth is, we're still losing money selling it at the price that we're selling it because Facebook and YouTube are taking all the money. It's just too expensive now.
Now, you were talking about losing money. We sell, like, our products are so highly rated. I was looking at our classic pack. You know what? Guess what it's rated out of 5 stars?
4.5.
No, 4.82 stars.
Dang.
I think it has 2,000 reviews, and those are legitimate reviews. Like, we do not doctor that stuff in any way.
Yeah.
And so everything that we make is so highly rated, and yet we still have a really hard time advertising and making a profit. In fact, this year we're down for the year. What's your plan on kind of taking us to the next level and building us?
Yeah, so for now it's kind of like strip back and do the thing that's working. So the thing that's working right now super well is socks, which is not like unfortunate. It's super fortunate that we have something that's working because some of the other stuff is not working nearly as well. Those are the things that we spend a lot of time, engineering time and effort, like automating, and so things are super fast, they're super efficient, really low labor costs. The plan is it's to open up other sales channels. Yeah. We've got to get offline.
And new products as well, right?
New products too, yeah.
What would you like to come out with next? And maybe this is just your engineering brain, but...
honestly, a great wool sweater. Yeah. Like maybe a hoodie or maybe a nice sweater, but there's a lot of like really cool, like almost like 3D knitting machines that can do the whole garment all at once. I've actually gone and visited some showrooms and watched some of that process. It's a lot like our sock knitting machines where there's a lot of software and there's programming and there's selecting the right materials and then letting the thing just output a finished product with like pretty minimal labor. That would be super fun.
I would love a wool hoodie. I tell you, if we had a wool hoodie, I would wear it. It would be gross. I would wear it so many days in a row. People would just did not like me at all. But I had a light wool sweater, and I love that thing. Anyway, I'm excited for that. But we need to get square socks away and get more machines for socks and really meet that demand, I think, first.
Yeah.
The other thing is, of course, we've come out with pickleball paddles and beanies, and we're going to expand on that. There's a lot of different ways we'd like to go. If you guys have ideas what you guys think GRIP6 should make, or Bird Pickleball, if you're aware of that brand as well, that's a sub-brand of GRIP6. What would be the fun thing that you'd like to see, or the thing that you would wear every day until your wife told you to leave the house or whatever it is, because we send surveys out quite a bit, and we really do care about what people, their feedback. We're stuck in a bubble. We're just doing what we can, and so feedback is really critical. And BJ, will you emphasize that we do read it and care about it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of nice. Like one of the things that we do a lot of is like sending out surveys, and our customers know, like they'll get a lot of emails. It's like, hey, take this survey, tell us what you think. And we will base all of our decisions based on surveys, because what we'll do internally is say, I like this color leather or that color leather if we're thinking of something new, like maybe a new leather jacket for the wallets. But then we'll send out the surveys and we'll say, what do people really think? Yeah. And we'll usually base our decision on those.
Okay. Now, I want to say that GRIP6 has had a pretty hard year. Obviously, I've been part of it, but we have a really cool future ahead of us. Like, I think we have a great future. And for anyone who's watched our stuff, our videos, you've probably seen BJ before. I can tell you that BJ is the kind of guy that is going to make GRIP6 something that is going to make great products for decades to come, and things that will last forever and be comfortable and really just be the best in the market for what they are. Now, this podcast is the first time we've done it, so we probably sound awkward and maybe not the smoothest, but that's okay. That's not our forte. And, we'll get better at these podcasts, hopefully. And in future episodes, we're going to talk about American manufacturing. We're talking about the struggles that we're going to go more into detail about struggles that we've had, lessons that we've learned, maybe some stories from customers. We've had one guy used our belt as a tourniquet once. We have some really cool stories like that. We may dive into more personalizing GRIP6, humanizing us to some degree, because to be honest with you, GRIP6 is a collection of individuals here in Midvale, Utah, that are, we're doing our best to make some small amount of difference in America, and we've chosen manufacturing as our as as a tip of the spear there, right? But we'll have some guests on. You're going to see different people, not just me and BJ, so you can be glad about that. We're talking about manufacturing and about being an entrepreneur, and just me watching BJ. BJ is the epitome of an entrepreneur, especially an engineering entrepreneur, and he has kind of a cool take on what it is. So stay tuned. It's going to be interesting, and thank you for your time.